This is another book where Nancy cheats on her boyfriend with a hot guy. I don't know why it's called Kiss and Tell when she doesn't tell Ned anything.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
Nancy and Ned have been fighting a lot recently, and no, they haven't. Last book ended with them being lovey-dovey. Continuity! Well, Ned is mad that Nancy won't visit him for Valentine's Day this year. That doesn't make it right for her to cheat on him. On Valentine's Day, no less. Famous romance novelist Esme Moore is in town. She's a famous celebrity. She used to be married to actor Todd Gilbert. She's currently married to Giancarlo. It's not clear what he does, besides stand around and be handsome. Esme is writing an autobiography. She's not finished with it yet, but they're already making a movie out of it. Both her husbands want to be in the movie, and honestly, that sounds like the premise for a decent romance novel. The men are violently in love with Esme. The next time we see them, Todd barges into Esme's hotel room, and Giancarlo punches him in the face without asking any questions. Brenda Carlton ruins Esme's book signing by saying the biography is full of lies. Brenda refuses to name her source for these accusations. Nancy and Bess find this odd, because journalism rules clearly state you need 2 sources before you can make any accusations. That is definitely not a rule Brenda followed in previous books. Nancy offers her services as a private investigator. Esme accepts. She reveals that the culprit has been sending her threatening notes for a while now. The notes refer to Esme as the Black Widow. Hey, that was the title of book 28. The culprit sabotages some posters before a press conference. Esme's publicist Janine looks guilty because she left the room unlocked and she's friendly with Brenda. By chance, Nancy sits next to an older woman named Pia Weiland. Nancy contacts the police. The cute detective Sam Fanelli is assigned to the case. Sam has a computer program which can identify the culprit based on the culprit's threats. Sam figures the program's broken because it keeps saying the culprit is a semi-retired woman between 50 and 55. That can't possibly be right. I should note the book doesn't give ages for any of the characters, so it's a little meaningless to use an age range to dismiss all the suspects. Either way, I am mad because there is one suspect who fits perfectly into the culprit's age range, but Nancy completely forgets about her. This book would be half as long if Nancy remembered, oh yeah, there's a suspect that matches the culprit's description. Esme has a photo shoot. Her assistant Kim complains a lot about Esme, then brings her a suitcase. A Black Widow spider is inside. Esme invites everyone to a masquerade ball. Sam asks Nancy if they can go together, like a date. Nancy feels guilty because dancing with Sam is so nice. Giancarlo slips Nancy a love note. Since Giancarlo has never expressed interest in Nancy before this, she's pretty sure he intended the love note for Kim, who's wearing a similar costume. Someone sets a fire when Esme gives a speech. Nancy puts it out with a fire extinguisher. Sam sees the culprit running away in a trench coat. He gives chase, but the culprit escapes. Next time, Sam should try stopping the culprit with his warm brown eyes. Nancy thinks his eyes are so disarming. She has to tell herself she doesn't want to ruin things with Ned. Bess insists that Sam likes Nancy, and Esme goes on a talk show. Just like book 86, the culprit calls with a voice changer and insults Esme. Nancy and Bess put on swimsuits and go into a jacuzzi with Esme. Just like 2 books ago, the culprit locks them inside the hot room. They bang on the door until someone lets them out. The culprit steals Esme's manuscript. Nancy sees the culprit leaving the room. Nancy chases the culprit outside, but again, the culprit escapes. Sam asks Nancy out to dinner. Although Bess wants Nancy to get back with Ned, Bess gets mad because she thinks Nancy isn't being honest with herself about her feelings for Sam. Bess encourages Nancy to admit that she likes Sam. Out of book reading, Esme's tea is poisoned. Nancy and Sam follow after Kim, who's holding a manuscript. She takes it to a publisher. They confront Kim, only to learn that Kim is trying to write her own romance novel. Sam and Nancy have a fun afternoon together. They go out to dinner again, and her stomach flutters when he calls her Nan. Ned sends Nancy's flowers on Valentine's Day with a note asking to call him. Nancy sighs because a few flowers are not enough to fix their broken relationship. Jeez, how bad was their fight? Sam checks Esme's IRS records. This is fiction, by the way. A random rookie cop can't casually check people's tax returns without permission. Even if that was possible, it'd be illegal. It turns out Giancarlo and Esme are both single. Their marriage is a publicity stunt. Nancy and Sam read Esme's autobiography. That's when he kisses Nancy. It's so nice. She wishes the kiss could continue. She tells Sam about Ned and says she's confused about what to do. She later decides to tell Ned about everything, except for the kiss. Nancy, that's called withholding vital evidence. Thank you. Sam finds the pivotal clue. The culprit is copying the events of Esme's first book, titled Black Widow. Esme should have realized that immediately, but she forgot about the book. Also, she forgot about writing up a summary for the book for her autobiography recently. Why do the characters in this book have selective amnesia? Esme's first book was co-written by Pia. She wants revenge because Esme went on to become world famous. Nancy decides to break into Pia's house. When Sam says that's illegal, Nancy argues it's technically not breaking and entering if you use an unlocked door to enter a stranger's house without their knowledge or consent. I wonder how well that argument would hold up in court. Sam and Nancy find enough evidence to prove Pia is the culprit. Sam warns the evidence against Pia doesn't count because it was obtained without a legal search warrant. That's true, and it's another reason why Sam the police officer should not have helped Nancy break into a person's house. Pia gets a gun and takes Esme hostage. Nancy and Sam chase Pia all throughout the hotel. When they reach a stage area, Nancy climbs a catwalk. That way she can swing down on a rope and knock Pia down from above. I believe this is called the Tarzan technique. That trick would have worked, only the book is a chapter short. So Pia goes through a side door, and they chase her for another chapter. She is stopped when Esme, Sam, and Nancy all jump at her at the same time. With the mystery solved, Esme decides to marry Todd again. Giancarlo ends his fake marriage, so he can marry Kim for real. Nancy marries Ned, and just kidding, Nancy's heart tells her not to decide about Sam yet. So she'll be free to have more romance drama with him in the next book. The end. Post-book follow-up. I don't like Sam. He's too impatient and pushy for me. Twice, he makes fun of Nancy for being lost in thought. He says stuff like, "Earth to Nancy! Come in, Nancy! Detective is out to lunch!" What a jerk. Nancy, however, thinks they're a great pair because they're so different. I guess opposites attract. I wish Ned appeared in this book. He could have called Nancy. I also wish Bess didn't encourage Nancy to date Sam. Bess has a humorous subplot where she decides to write a romance novel. She starts taking notes on everything that happens. That was funny. I thought the first half of the mystery was okay, but things went downhill after the masquerade ball. That's when the mystery became more generic, and there were those 2 scenes in a row, which I remembered from previous books. It really annoys me that the mystery only exists because Nancy forgot about Pia, and Esme forgot everything about her first novel. Both of those strike me as implausible. Overall, I enjoyed the book more than I disliked it, even though its problems are groan-worthy. I think Esme's love life is more interesting than Nancy's love life. She had the better love triangle. The mystery could have been improved a bit, but it's clear the focus is supposed to be on the romance, which works for a Valentine's Day book with a romance novelist victim. I give Nancy Drew Files number 104, Kiss and Tell, a 6 out of 10.